I was playing Fallout 76 last night with a few friends, and I encountered my first they in a video game. Like my first official they. And when I mean they, I mean like I'm talking about gender pronouns and gender ideology and people who believe that there is more than one gender. Sorry, more than two genders. For a while now in video games. Also, I did say Fallout 76, man. Fallout 76 is dope. And that's like I know there's probably not a lot of people saying that out loud, at least, because I do know a lot of Fallout 76 players who enjoy it, but for some reason there's still like a stigma around it and people just don't want to publicly admit that. They also just don't want to publicly admit that it's a better game now. I do see that. Don't get me wrong, in reviews and stuff like that on Steam and such. But I you don't hear a lot about Fallout 76 nowadays, even though it is a way better game than what it used to be when it first came out. You know, we don't need to go through that. Anyways, yes, I was playing Fallout 76 yesterday, and I encountered my first day. I've been seeing this trend. That's that's what you want to call a trend, or if it's here to stay. I can't tell you because all I can tell you is that I want to say gender ideology. I believe that's what you would call it. That's what I'm gonna call it. I may be fucking wrong. I don't know. But gender ideology, is it a trend? Is it something that's eventually just gonna fade out? Is it something that it's genuinely here to stay? Is it something that's been exasperated? I think that's the word. Let's just say exaggerated by social media. I don't know. I'm just a. I have my opinions about things, but I can't tell you the. I can't predict the future if this is something that's gonna be a mainstay in American culture. And I say American culture mostly because it seems like this gender stuff is more prevalent in America than anywhere else, right? Like I don't really hear people talking about gender ideologies and such in like China or like Russia, or maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't know. Just one dude just trying to figure all this shit out because it's a lot of it makes no fucking sense. A lot of it I can get behind on. Like I can go, I get it, and that's cool. I'll support that. And a lot of it I'm just like, dude, no, that makes no. And I feel like a lot of people have. You know what? I would even go out on a limb and say that most people feel like that. They're confused about what's going on right now. Like, imagine people who are outside of America looking in. They're like, what the fuck is going on in there? You know what I mean? Like, they're fighting over gender. Like, gender's a huge, hot topic. It's, you got to look at it that way, at least. If you're someone who's a proponent, is that the word? If you're someone who's a supporter of these gender studies and identifications, these gender identities, like if you're someone who's a supporter, I wonder if you ever step back and kind of go like, this is pretty crazy, or if you're just someone who goes like, yeah, this is how I always felt, which is something that I can't get behind that one. Like I've always felt like this, and I'm like, that's weird. It's weird how now, as if when I say now, I mean like the last few years, it's become prevalent. But before that, it didn't seem like it was a huge deal. I don't know if it's always been around and it's just hasn't been as highlighted because I'm not part of the gay community. But and all I've had was just small insights, right? Through like gay friends and people who I know that happen to be gay. They just give me like small insights into their world. So, but I can't speak on that lifestyle too much because I don't know. Like I can say that as an outsider looking in, that life is extremely complicated. I'm not saying nothing revolutionary there. I'm 100% sure people from all walks of life can agree with me on that. But when I mean complicated, I mean like it starts in the womb, right? Like as you're developing in the womb, your brain is also developing. People are born with like, no arms. People are born with three arms. People are twins are conjoined together at the hip or at the brain, and so many mutations can happen physically, so therefore lots of mutations can happen mentally. um can something go wrong mentally that would cause someone to be gay, then that would mean that someone is implying that being gay is some sort of a mental disorder, which obviously I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like, this is me personally, I feel like, and once again, I don't know, I'm an outsider looking in, so my very uninformed opinion, I would say that being gay is as natural as being straight, or close to it. And let me get into more detail. What I mean is, like, being gay may not be as common in like numbers, meaning that like there are more straight people in this world than gay people. That's I'm pretty sure that's a statistical fact. Although, nowadays people will probably disagree because, being gay now, it's become massive now. It used to be a marginalized group. Now it's just it's frontline. So who knows? But I'm gonna go out and say that being straight is more common than being gay. However, being gay has always been a part of mankind. That's what I believe. Like, there were gay people, there were gay cavemen, there were gay um, cowboys, and now there's gay TikTokers and millennials. What I'm trying to say is, gay was around back then, gay is around now, and gay will be here in the future, whether you like it or not. That's just the truth of things. And that's being like as neutral as I can be, being as bipartisan as I can be, because those are the facts. Whether you like it or not, gay is here to stay. So that leads me to believe that that's just something we have to accept that. That's just something that us humans do. And I understand a lot of people can't accept that for religious reasons or for political reasons or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you shave all that away. You know what I mean? You part the C of gay, and eventually, what you get left with, if you remove all the politics and all of the religion to the side, you get the fact that, hey, there's always been gay people here, and there's gay people here now. So those are the facts. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? I guess if you're religious, you'd be like, that's demon possession. And I'm like, okay, well, that's debatable, highly. If you're political, you would say, oh, that's ruining the family, the traditional family unit. You know what I mean? Like, traditionally, it's supposed to be man, woman, and yeah, traditionally, you know what I mean? But you don't have to live a traditional life. That's also how I feel. Like, you can live whatever fucking life you want to. As long as you're not hurting anyone in any shape, way, or form, you do that shit. Fucking do it. Just if you're a man and you want to be with another man, fine. If you're a woman, you want to be with another woman, fine. I'm not saying nothing revolutionary here. I'm just stating the facts. I'm not even supporting anyone here. I'm not trying to be team this, team that. This is just what I feel. With that being said, is there a lot of silliness going on nowadays because of this whole gender thing? Yeah, there's a lot that I'm just like, okay, that's a little too far, dude. And once again, like I said earlier, I'm pretty much repeating what I said just a few minutes ago. I also do feel like there's a lot that I can get behind on. But I'm not here to stir the pot, man. I'm not, there's enough people doing that nowadays. You've got major podcasters, you've got entertainers, you've got political pundits that's what they do, man. Grifters, I believe they call them. They're just, they came in with this stick ready to hit that fucking hornet's nest. I'm not with that, man. I'm talking about fucking video games. And and I just happen to always delve into shit that has nothing to do with video games. Figure that one out. So, I was playing Fallout 76 yesterday with a few friends, enjoying the game as usual, and I encountered my first day. Now, for a while, like I said earlier, I've been noticing that there's been more and more like gay representation in video games, which is cool. And then, and also I haven't played a video game yet where they forced it upon you. They're like, oh, this is a gay character or a non-binary, genderless person, and, you will have to follow their whole backstory and how they became gender. Like I feel like now you're just cramming it down my throat. It's like, bro, dude, is that character cool? Like, are we gonna shoot shit soon, or do I have to sit here and listen to someone's whole backstory, regardless if they're gay or not. I don't want to just sit here and just listen to someone's entire, like, maybe after we shoot some shit or we've done some sort of exploration or done some sort of whatever the game entails, maybe we can sit down and, make it optional if I want to listen to your story. But if you're trying to cram something down my throat, that's not going to work. That's the quickest way to disinterest me. Like, you would turn me off completely. And that's just not with politics or with gender ideologies. That's with me in general. Like, anywhere, if I'm outside and you're just trying to, like, coax me, that's the word. If you're trying to just provoke me or you're trying to influence me in some sort of way and I see it, like salesmen, when they throwing pitches at you, like, I'm like, dude, that you're turning me off so much right now. Like, just let me choose what I want to do. Don't push me into the direction you want me to go. So after seeing this first day, and at first I thought it was weird because the person's name is Orlando. Sorry, the NPC's name is Orlando, and it's right before you start the pit in Fallout 76. I still haven't done the pit yet, so I don't know what that entails. But I remember she calls her, I'm sorry, they call themselves, she, he, I don't know, man. So no one's written a handbook on this yet, or have they? Maybe I should go online and read to see what this is. It's it's virtually impossible not to offend anyone. Like, nowadays with this subject, it's just become so hot, so like contested. And I thought we had that shit dialed in. I thought it was just man. I thought it was just woman. But obviously, I've got opened up to a whole new host of ideas. And obviously, it's not that simple for a lot of folk nowadays. How much of it is trendy? How much of it is bullshit? How much of it is legit? How much of it is, been brewing for a long time and finally has a name and a voice? I don't know, man. I'm still trying to piece all this together. But all I know is that now I'm playing video games and it's here. It's here in front of my face in video games. This person named Orlando. We're just going to call Orlando because I don't know what to call Orlando. And if someone says, well, you should call them they. Should I? According to who? Like, you know what I mean? That's another, like, according to you? Like, I should call them they because you said so? Because they said so? I don't know. Once again, trying to figure all this out. So, Orlando, I'm speaking to one of the Brotherhood initiates there, and that initiate guy is referring to Orlando as they. They go, oh, they is an enigma. They is not so personable, or whatever the Brotherhood initiates say, as the Brotherhood initiate was talking about Orlando. And I remember just thinking, like, I was bummed out. Because I'm like, oh shit, politics are now in video games. The shit that I'm trying to stay away from because it's like causing a mass hysteria all over the United States, this whole gender thing. I'm trying to stay away from that. Like, I purposely cut my phone time on social media. I purposely limit the amount of exposure that I get from these type of things because I feel like it's toxic at this point. At this point, it's just a breeding ground for negativity, for violence. Like, people are from the left, people from the right, they're just fighting over these gender ideologies or whatever. And I try my best to stay away from it. So I go, in my head, what do I do to have some fun? How can I just get away from all that? Oh, I got it. I'll play some video games. And then I'll go on video games. I'll start playing my video games like I was playing Fallout last night, as I said, like 40 times already. And here it is. It's right there in front of my face, the whole gender ideology thing. Luckily, I would say that Orlando's, like, it's not pushed on you. Orlando's backstory isn't pushed on you, which is great. You know what I mean? Because I don't want anything pushed on me. And it's like, Orlando doesn't even refer to Orlando as they. It was someone else who did. So, and then you could just continue playing the game. So it's pretty painless, to be honest with you, which is great. You know what I mean? Like, I would just like to play a game where I'm just like, if it's Fallout, I want to deal with post-apocalyptic shit. And let's keep it real. If someone was role-playing, right? If the apocalypse happened, I'm pretty sure people won't be concerned about gender pronouns. Like, if motherfuckers were scrapping for food and fighting for survival and building shanty towns out of like old tin from scrapped airplanes, and they're dealing with radiation poisoning, and babies are being born with 4 arms and 2 dicks on their foreheads. Like, no one is worried about gender. No one is going to be worried about that. So if you think about it, I don't know how this translates to Fallout, the Fallout history. I'm sorry, the Fallout lore. But I guess with Fallout 76 specifically, it's kind of like an MMO, so you can just add wacky shit. You can add the aliens on there, like they did in Mothership Zeta. I believe that's what the DLC was called in Fallout 3. So you could just sometimes Fallout is pretty wacky, but they still kind of stay low fantasy. It's still fantasy in there, but it's a pretty low fantasy game. And I guess you can add stuff like political stuff, like gender ideologies and stuff like that into the world, and it kind of fits well because, like I said, if a real apocalypse was happen, I guarantee you the last thing people would be worrying about is gender ideologies. They'll be more worried about how to not die from drinking water, or not how to protect, how to unjam their pipe guns that they made from like fucking old salvaged houses and stuff. Should politics, do they belong in video games? Should politics be in video games? When I say politics, I mean, like, sadly, gender ideology has been highly politicized. I think I've said this before about this podcast has been going on for 16 minutes now, 16 and a half minutes. I don't know if I said this during this podcast just now. That's how my mind works. It's not great, so bear with me. But I think I said at the beginning of this podcast, maybe so, maybe not, that sadly, gender ideology has been politicized. Whether that's on purpose, how did it start? I don't know. Maybe someone on the left, maybe someone on the right kind of used it for their own political game, kind of to, I don't want to delve too deep in the conspiracy pool, but conspiracy theories and such. But I will say that, I wouldn't be surprised if they weaponized gender ideologies, whatever party that may be, the same way they weaponized the vaccine, because the vaccine it's a fucking health crisis. Sorry, it's a health issue. It's a health issue. It's not a political issue, but somehow it turned politicized. So it's fair to say that when I see gender ideology stuff, I link that to politics for some reason. And someone would correct me and say, well, it's not political. It has to do with, the gay community. It has to do with them being oppressed for so long and so forth and so on. And I go, well, I would give you the same argument as to, like, okay, well, the vaccine wasn't supposed to be politicized neither. The vaccine is a health issue. It's whether you should take it, whether you should not take it. But somehow here we are. It got politicized. That's just the way it is. Do you want to play video games without any real life politics involved? Or if there are real life politics involved, maybe like the war history part of it, or when I say war, it's like, it's mostly, a lot of video games are action, and a lot of video games, when they do use real life politics in their games, they tend to go to the war stuff, the Cold War stuff, the Civil War stuff, the Gulf War stuff, the world, I just said that, the World War stuff, Nazi Germany stuff. Seems like every single time an action video game comes on, they use some sort of real life history. It always involves some sort of a war. So that's the theme that I'm going with now. If you're going to use real life news, real life history and events, should that include gender ideology? Should that include the vaccine, for example? Like, imagine like the next AAA blockbuster has an entire like chapter dedicated to like whether you're vaccinated or not. Like, imagine that. Imagine like you would have to like chapter 1, vaxxed or unvaxxed. And like, you're like fucking shooting through houses and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh no, this whole war started because it was the vaxxers versus the unvaxxers, like a civil war of vaxxers and unvaxxers. And you have to pick a side and build fortifications. And, one side wears masks, the other side doesn't. The other side is opposed to flying with masks on. The other side is, punching stewardesses in the face for them trying to force a mask on them. Like, imagine a video game like that. Like, somebody would probably do some dumb shit like that. Even with issues like that, gender ideology, vaccinations, personally, I vote I don't want to see that shit in my video games. I come to play video games to de-stress. I don't want to be like, fuck, man, I gotta deal with this stuff too. You know what I mean? While I'm playing, like, the number one thing that I enjoy doing that literally, like, calms me down, it de-stresses me. What's that word I'm looking for? Here. Whatever. It relaxes me. I enjoy playing video games, and I don't want to see any real life politics on this shit, man. Um, I'm trying to think of another video game where I would say, because it wasn't just Cyberpunk and Fallout where I saw, like, hints towards, like, oh, this person. I don't know if you can call him androgynous before. First of all, I forgot what androgynous means. I think it means like kind of male, kind of female, like a little bit of both. I should really start fucking looking up my words before I just spout them shits out. I think that's what it means. I don't even know if you're allowed to say that anymore. And when I say allowed, see, I hate that too because I feel like I have like an imaginary daddy. Like, I'm not allowed. My daddy says I'm not allowed to say this in my own house when no one's around. You know what I mean? Like, that's a weird thing too. I don't like that. I don't like saying that, but people say it all the time. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed or we're not allowed. I say it joking around most of the time, but sometimes I kind of mean it, and I catch myself. Like just now, a couple seconds ago, I meant it. I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed. Like in my own house, like there's no one here. It's just me. Anyways, what was it talking about? Yeah, what? I'm trying to think of another video game where I saw it coming down a pipeline. I'm like, this is odd. I know there was another one, man. I wish I can remember. I don't know. But maybe there are some people out there who, as a matter of fact, I'm sure there's people out there who would be totally for the implementation of current real life politics and current real life situations added to video games. I don't want to see a video game about vaccines personally. I don't want to see a video game about gender ideologies. I don't want to see a video game about abortion. Can you imagine? First of all, how would you make a video game out of abortion? I've got some ideas. No one's gonna like them. I can tell you that now. Spoiler alert. I don't want to see real life shit on my. Sorry. I don't want to see. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't mind seeing real life shit in my video games, but I don't want nothing that hits too close to home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to jump on my video game and see a headline that I really would see like on CNN or NBC or any news outlet and be like, "Holy shit, this is too close to home, man." Like, this is no. If I wanted to, I don't want to play a news story. Basically, that's my stance on it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, besides like that goes to that links what I just said links to also, is it possible for you to be supportive of vaccinations in general, but not be supportive of the COVID vaccine? Is it possible for you to believe that after a certain amount of months, a baby shouldn't be terminated, but also support abortion in some cases? Is it possible for you to support police officers, but also support Black lives? Like, is it possible for you to believe that anyone should identify as anything that they want, but also believe that there is a limit and some things are just silly? I can go on. Like, is it possible for you to be in the middle, to be neutral? I feel like here's another word that's been thrown around all over the media: tribalism or toxic masculinity. You know, I don't like the toxic masculinity part because I feel like some people they've took that to a whole new realm. That's somewhere out, and like it's not even, it doesn't even mean what it originally means anymore. I and personally, when it comes to toxic masculinity, this is what I believe. I believe that there is such thing as toxic masculinity, but probably not in the way most people mean it nowadays. Because, like I said, the definition has been warped. I believe that toxic masculinity today is like someone, a man who traditionally doesn't like to show his feelings because that's what he's been shown throughout his life. To him, that is the stereotype of a man. You hide your emotions. Whenever you're hurt or depressed or anxious, you keep it to yourself. You don't speak it to no one because if you do, it shows weakness. It shows you're a bitch. It shows that you're feminine and girly, and and as a man, I get that. I'm not like that. Trust me. If I'm going through something, my friends would know. They'll know that shit. Like I don't have a problem being vulnerable, because I feel like that makes you stronger. It really does. But that's where I believe toxic masculinity rests. That, men are typically or traditionally raised by other men to be self-sufficient and to bottle everything up and to not express any emotion because it comes off as feminine. And yeah, dude, coming from a a household where we weren't exactly emotional to each other. We were poor and we were a minority. We were Puerto Ricans and the shittiest part of Philadelphia. We were minorities just doing the best we can to survive, and I can tell you straight up that ran a lot in my family, and also friends that I knew growing up in the inner city. Inner city is like the fucking, like, the politically correct way of saying hood. Like, it's the fucking hood. The ghetto is like, no one really says the ghetto anymore because the ghetto is like, I don't know. I feel like that's a word that's, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't, it's not, it's phased out. People just say the hood. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised, and I can tell you straight up that within friends and within family members, that there was a lot of that going on. This toxic masculinity stuff, where it's just like, you bottle it to yourself. You don't really tell anybody this and that. And then, as I grew up and I started, wisening up, man, reading about shit and, talking to people. And I realized, like, you know what? Fuck that, dude. Like, I feel like some people will judge you if you are open about your emotions. And then, but I feel like even though if they judge you, they know at the end of the day that they've been in the same shoes as me. They won't admit it because, they're too manly to admit it. But they would, in their mind, go like, "Yeah, I felt like that." Even if they're by themselves and no one's around, like, or and when they think that, when they go home, and even though they didn't share, like, I can go up to a friend or a family member and be like, "Hey, I've been having, today was a shitty day, man. I was just upset about this. I was upset about that." They won't share nothing. They'll just listen to me and they'll go, "Oh, well, you need to man up and, don't worry, you'll be fine." And, general advice, they'll go home and they'll go, "Man, I felt like that plenty of times." And I kind of wanted to tell them that I did feel like that. And I know what it feels to be like that. And here are some pointers. At least, even though they won't give you any props or they won't open up to you at the time, at least they'll get your respect. Because being vulnerable to a lot of people, you gain people's respect like that because they see honesty. Vulnerability equals to honesty, and people love honest people. Who doesn't want a friend that's honest with them? Well, actually, that's controversial too, right? Because some people just want yes men in their corner. They just want people to just, yeah, 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 never say no, never disagree with me, or we have a problem. But having an honest person in your corner is so important for many ways than one, more ways than one. I mean, so at least at the end of the day, even if they don't level with you, they will respect you. They will go like, this person's honest, and I see that this person's not really hiding anything. I can trust this person. This person can become a good friend. And maybe as time goes on, maybe I'll open up. And I've had that happen to me. I've had friends who I still have friends that are tough nuts to crack. You know, like I have specific friends that I've knew since like high school who really I don't know too much about intimately. I do know some things, obviously, because we've been friends since high school, but you know, this particular person doesn't share anything personal, which it is kind of weird considering we've been friends for a long time. But at the same time, I'm like, that's the way this person was raised, and you know, that's the way this person's probably gonna leave this earth. You know, just maybe he talks to someone about it. That's not me. I don't know. He doesn't even share that. So, point is, yeah, toxic masculinity has taken a whole new, you know, I feel like more people nowadays, they kind of mean it as like, oh, it's men, you know, toxic masculinity is men, a bunch of men working in one building. There's too many men. We need to feminize it. That's toxic masculinity. I was like, no, that's not what that is, dude. It's not, but I have heard people make that argument, and I'm like, you're completely off. Video games. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? I don't know. I hope that we continue just focusing on deep character development, beautiful, awesome worlds that we can explore. Of course, we don't have to even mention graphical. Like we don't even have to have a conversation about graphics because that's just something that's always going to involve. But graphics are probably like the first thing developers work on. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I have no idea. I hope that in the future they just focus on good character development and just people just video games being fun and video games being, you know, good. And I believe there's merit to that, right? Like for example, to not talk about video games for like another 5-10 minutes. The show Yellowstone. I've never seen a single episode, but you can tell that show's good when I have people who did watch the show love it. I remember where I work in a hospital at a hospital. And I remember as I was doing my job, one of my coworkers or someone that I work with, not a direct coworker, she was gushing about a character in Yellowstone, like, "Oh my God, if I can just have," I don't know if his name was Rick or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of The Walking Dead, but she definitely said Yellowstone. I know it's that show, and she was just gushing over this one cowboy dude, and she was just like, "Oh my God, if I could have a man like that, woo, I'll be set. I won't ask for nothing. I'll behave. He could do whatever he wants." And she was like, the dudes that she was talking to were laughing, but I remember thinking like, "Wow, she really identifies with this character. Like she really likes this character." And then she was saying, oh, she was also saying how great the show is. I've never watched the show, so I can't tell you if it's good or not. It's on the list though. I think I am gonna watch it soon. And the reason I bring Yellowstone up is because I read an article recently saying that Yellowstone didn't get nominated for any awards because Yellowstone was quote unquote a right wing show played by left wing actors. So because Yellowstone wasn't hinting or wasn't conforming to whatever's going on right now politically, right? The gender, all the shit that I basically was just stabbing your ear holes with the last half hour, which is gender ideologies, vaccinations, shit like that. Well, you know, stuff like that. Yellowstone doesn't have any of that. They're just focused on good shows, like good character development, good, you know, environments, good wardrobes, all that good shit, good score, good music, all that. So, from what I understand, to do a quick recap, is because this show is not being political and it's just focusing on just being a good show and not kind of pandering to politics and to, you know, certain communities, people, the Hollywood, which is predominantly left, kind of snubbed it. They kind of just went, we're not going to add this show to any of our award shows, or it's not going to receive any of our traditional Hollywood accolades because they're not out there ramming politics down our throat. So the point is, even after all this, people can't stop raving about the show because that girl that was gushing that I was speaking to about that I was speaking about earlier, she's not the only one I heard say good things about this show. I've heard other celebrities say good things about this show. My cousin, I believe, watched every episode and he loves it, but he's kind of He loves everything. He's that guy that likes a lot of weird shit. So it's like, I don't know, man. You did kind of watch this weird ass anime with tentacles and shit. So I'm like, I don't know, bro, if you would like this Yellowstone stuff. If it's really like something you genuinely find brilliant, or is it just something you just kind of turned on and just was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch the rest of this. That says a lot. That says that a show or a piece of entertainment, a piece of content can be successful without pandering to whatever current political ideologies are going on or whatever situation is going on at the moment. You can be successful if you just focus on being a good show or a good piece of entertainment. So there's still hope to that. And that also brings credibility to what I was saying earlier, which is I would just like video games to just be good. I just want video games to just focus on making great characters and so forth and so on, and focus less on politics. That's all I'm saying. You know, who's enjoying Fallout 76, by the way? You know what I mean? Like, I want to hear more people talk about the game. It's been out for, I'm going to say, like 4 years now, I believe. I think it came out 2018. Once again, I should really start fact checking and shit like that. But it's wild how it's like the difference between when it first debuted, when it first got released, all the way to this current time. It's wild how much has changed, and a lot of it is for the better. You know, it's still, I mean, it can be a little janky sometimes, and it can, it's not the type of game that I can say they completely ironed out every wrinkle, but it's definitely an awesome game now. And even after going on this whole tirade about gender ideologies and possibly offending so many fucking people right now, there's probably people frothing at the mouth right now. Sorry about that, man. That's not my aim, dude. It really ain't. I'm not here to, like I said earlier, stir the hornet's nest. I'm not here to argue with anyone. I'm just here to just, man, have a good time, man, and just kind of inject my views on things without forcing them down your throat, because I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm pretty sure you can just open up your phone right now, click on any random app, and the first thing that's going to pop up is some political pundit or somebody, some famous influencer from TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or God knows how many other ones, Twitter, and they're telling you, this, and that. These people are hating you because of this. These people want to steal your rights. These people want to take away your guns. These people want to, chemically castrate your children, which I wish that was a joke. It is not. I just don't want that shit in games. Basically what I'm saying for is Yellowstone the video game. Like, have a Yellowstone video game, right? Where you, no, I'm just joking. I wouldn't even know. I don't know. Is Yellowstone a cowboy like show? Is it like a Wild West show? I think that's what it is. Is it modern? Does it take place back in the day? Is it based on real life events? I'm the worst at this. I could do some research. I totally can. I'm sitting in front of a computer right now as I'm speaking. I can do it right now as we're speaking. I'm not gonna do it. But point is, I can do it right now if I wanted to. I can fucking go on Brave and just look this shit up. I don't know, man. I'm gonna watch Yellowstone tonight. I'm gonna watch an episode of Yellowstone just to see what all the fuzz is about. Play Fallout 76, man. It's not that bad of a game. That's a master segue, right? Master segue. Maybe I'm gonna leave you with this. I promise. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. Psych. No, I'm joking. I when I first not when I first Fallout 70 when Fallout 76 was about 2 years old, I thought it was a great game, even though the Wastelanders DLC didn't release yet. So I was already enjoying Fallout 76 before NPCs got brought into the world. And I remember thinking like, man, I'm enjoying this game a lot more than what people are saying. Like the general audience at the time, which probably is still kind of the thing now, but back then they really hated 76 and there was so much heat and so much hate over it. And I remember thinking like, I am enjoying the shit out this game. And I knew a few other people, some of my other friends were also enjoying this game. And I was thinking like, man, maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's because I'm such a Fallout fan that I'm enjoying this game. I'm being a fanboy, right? So I decided to try an experiment, right? I ended up finding a very cheap copy of 76 and I ended up giving one to my friend who primarily plays like shooters. He likes like Destiny 2. He's a huge Destiny 2 fan. And I remember going like, "Hey man, would you try Fallout 76 with me?" And I remember he was just like, "No." And I was like, "All right, 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 right. How about if I buy you the game and then we both try it out?" He was like, I said, "Dude, I'm buying it for you. Just all I'm asking is just for a few hours of your time, because I want you to genuinely tell me if this game sucks." And he was like, "Okay." So I bought it for him and we played for a while. And I was like, "What do you think of the game?" And he was like, "I like it." And I was like, "Good. It's not just me being biased. He actually likes it." Then the next day he actually texted me and was like, "Hey man, you want to play Fallout for a bit?" And I was like, "That made me feel good, man." I was like, "Good." He actually does genuinely like it. He's just not telling me that. And just for I guess to be completely crystal clear, I also had a friend who had bought Fallout 76 when it first came out, and he was a younger guy, and he did not like it when me and him played together. But it seemed like he already gave up before he even tried, right? Like for the first hour, he was already like, "I don't know what I'm doing. This is this and that." I don't, like he was very reluctant, and he never like opened up to it. And after like about the second hour, he was like, "Danny, I can't stand this game, man." He's like, "This game sucks. I'm gonna delete it now." And I was like, "All right, man. I can't even be mad at you. At least you gave me 2 hours of your time." Although he was fussing and fighting the entire way, he was not open minded about it. So can I count him in the little example that I'm giving? Maybe, maybe not. But I just thought I had to throw that out there and let you know that not all of my friends enjoyed it. Peace, love. I told you that was the last thing I was gonna say. For the day at least. Thanks for listening. See you later.